When's the last time you heard a genuinely happy single man say it out loud and not get labeled as damaged, commitment phobic, or afraid of intimacy? It almost never happens. Not because those men don't exist, but because we built a story that says a man alone must be missing something. That if he isn't partnered, he's unfinished. That if he isn't chasing, he must be failing. But something changed. A lot of men didn't get left behind. They stepped aside. They looked at what modern dating turned into. They looked at what it was doing to their time, their energy, their confidence, their bank accounts, and their peace of mind. And they made a decision that makes people uncomfortable. They chose themselves, not out of anger, not out of fear, out of clarity. You can see it if you pay attention. The guy who used to feel embarrassed about being single now answers calmly, "I'm good." The man who used to chase validation through situationships now spends his weekends building something, training, learning, working, improving his health, leveling up his skills, deepening his friendships. The one who used to view marriage as the finish line now treats it like what it really is, a serious contract that deserves serious thought, not a social milestone you rush into because everyone else is doing it. This isn't a phase. It isn't a trend. It's a correction. For a long time, men were sold a straightforward script: find a woman, build a life, provide, protect, sacrifice. That's what success looks like. And in the best versions of that story, it can be beautiful. Real partnership is one of the most powerful forces on earth when two people are aligned, respectful, and committed to growth. But the environment changed, and a lot of men noticed that the rules were no longer clear. The expectations became louder, more contradictory, more performative. The culture started rewarding image over integrity, attention over connection, short term excitement over long term loyalty. So men adapted. They didn't stop wanting love. They stopped wanting confusion disguised as love. They didn't stop wanting intimacy. They stopped wanting intimacy that comes with a scoreboard, where they're always trying to earn basic respect. They didn't stop caring. They stopped donating their care to dynamics that didn't protect it. And that's the part people struggle to understand. Men walking away from dating isn't always a sign of bitterness. Sometimes it's evidence of self-respect. Because modern dating can feel like a game designed to drain you. Not always, not for everyone, but often enough that a lot of men recognize the pattern. Every conversation starts to feel like an interview. Every date starts to feel like a performance. Every early connection starts to feel like a trial period where you're constantly being measured, compared, tested, and graded. And here's the twist: men don't fear standards. Men respect standards. Most men want standards. Standards create clarity. Standards create direction. Standards give you something real to build toward. What men can't tolerate for long is shifting standards, contradictory standards, standards that change depending on the mood of the moment, the advice of a friend, a trend on social media, or the presence of new options. Be confident, but not too confident. Be ambitious, but always available. Be strong, but endlessly emotionally expressive on demand. Be grounded, but also exciting. Be stable, but also spontaneous. Be traditional, but also modern. Lead, but don't control. Pay, but don't mention it. Protect, but don't act masculine. Open up, but do it in the exact way that's attractive, at the exact time it's welcomed, and never in a way that makes anyone uncomfortable. When the target moves like that, effort stops feeling meaningful. It starts feeling like you're running on a treadmill, exhausted, sweating, and going nowhere. And that's why so many men opted out. Not because they hate women, not because they're incapable of love, not because they're scared of commitment, because they're tired of investing in confusion. Men are very simple in one specific way. Give a man a clear mission and fair rules, and he can endure almost anything. But if the rules are chaotic, if the reward is inconsistent, and if the effort is constantly punished, the smartest move isn't to try harder. The smartest move is to stop playing. A lot of men watched the older generations and learned. They watched fathers who worked hard and came home to households where they were respected. Then they watched other men work even harder and come home to tension, criticism, and emotional coldness. They watched people enter relationships with good intentions and slowly get reduced to utilities, valued for what they provide more than who they are. And they asked a simple question that nobody wants to talk about. What's the return on investment? Not just money, energy, time, focus, emotional bandwidth, peace. And for a lot of men, the math stopped making sense. Dating got more expensive, more time consuming, and more psychologically exhausting, while the quality of the connection often got worse. Not because everyone is bad, but because the system rewards behaviors that don't build trust. The apps reward quick judgments. The culture rewards attention seeking. The algorithm rewards what triggers emotion, not what creates stability. People are encouraged to keep browsing, keep comparing, keep one foot out the door just in case. And when that becomes normal, a man who wants something real starts to feel like he's building a house in the middle of an earthquake. So he does what men do when they see a structure that won't hold. He steps back. Here's where the story becomes uncomfortable for a lot of people. Once many men stepped back, they discovered something that changed them. Peace is addictive, not numbness, not isolation for the sake of avoiding life. Peace. The kind of peace where your nervous system finally relaxes, where your evenings aren't filled with tension, where your phone isn't a source of anxiety, where your finances aren't leaking into endless, uncertain, maybe connections, where your weekends belong to you again, where your self-respect isn't negotiated, where you don't have to convince someone you're worthy of basic decency. And once a man tastes that peace, he becomes hard to manipulate. You can't shame him back into chaos. You can't guilt him into accepting disrespect. You can't scare him with the word lonely if he learned how to enjoy his own company. That's what changed. Single life stopped being a waiting room. For many men, it became the destination not because they gave up on love, but because they refused to keep paying the price of disorder. And here's the thing most critics miss. Being single isn't the same as being lonely. Loneliness is a lack of connection. Singlehood is a relationship status. A man can be single and deeply connected to his friends, his family, his goals, his body, his purpose, his faith, his craft, his community. And a man can be in a relationship and feel completely alone. So when men say, "I'm good," they aren't always pretending. Many of them are telling the truth. They built routines that strengthen them. They built habits that protect them. They built standards that keep them from repeating the same mistakes. They started sleeping better, eating better, training harder, working smarter, reading again, creating again. They stopped living for the approval of people who weren't offering them peace. And when that happens, a man's entire energy changes. He becomes calm, focused, less reactive, more intentional. He stops needing to be chosen. He starts choosing. That shift looks like indifference to people who were used to men chasing. But it's not indifference. It's independence. And independence is threatening in a culture that profits from insecurity. Because insecurity creates customers. Insecurity creates obsession. Insecurity creates the endless search for external validation. But a man who genuinely likes his own life becomes very difficult to sell to. He's not easily baited. He's not easily pressured. He's not easily controlled. And that's why the narrative gets loud when men become content alone. Suddenly you see headlines and hot takes. Where did all the good men go? Why won't men commit? What's wrong with men today? Are men afraid of relationships? Notice how quickly the conversation becomes a diagnosis, as if a man choosing peace must be sick, as if a man being cautious must be broken, as if a man having boundaries must be a threat. But let's be honest about what many men have experienced. A lot of men feel like dating became one-sided in practice, even if everyone says they want equality. In many early dating dynamics, the man is expected to initiate, plan, lead the conversation, pay, follow up, set the pace, keep it exciting, be consistent, and absorb rejection gracefully, all while pretending it doesn't affect him. And if the connection fails, the man is often told he didn't do enough, didn't communicate enough, didn't plan enough, didn't try enough, didn't lead enough, didn't earn it. That wears on people, especially men who are actually trying to do things right. Because here's what rarely gets said out loud. Good men are not afraid of responsibility. Many of them are drowning in responsibility. And what they don't want is a relationship that adds more weight without adding more support. Men aren't asking for a life with no problems. They're asking for a partner who solves problems with them instead of becoming one more problem they have to manage. That's the heart of it. And when men don't see that possibility, they step away and put their energy into things that don't punish them for showing up. They put their energy into the gym because iron doesn't gaslight you. It tells the truth. You lift it or you don't. You get stronger or you don't. It respects effort. They put their energy into work because progress at work, while stressful, is at least measurable. You build something, you learn something, you earn something. They put their energy into skills because skills are loyal. Skills compound. Skills don't ghost you. They put their energy into friendships because real friendships don't require you to perform a personality to be accepted. They put their energy into purpose because purpose gives you a backbone. And slowly, they realize, my life is getting better without the drama. Now, before someone twists this into an attack on women, let's be mature. Women also have valid complaints about modern dating. Women deal with dishonesty, low effort, mixed signals, and people who want benefits without commitment. A lot of women are tired too. The real enemy here isn't men or women. It's the incentives. It's a culture that rewards shallow behavior. It's a system that encourages endless options and minimal investment. It's the normalization of keeping people in maybe zones. It's the way social media trains people to crave attention more than connection. It's the way people outsource their relationship decisions to strangers online who have to live with none of the consequences. But here's the difference. Men and women are often punished differently for the same choices. When a woman says, "I don't need a man," it's usually celebrated as empowerment. When a man says, "I don't need a woman," he's often treated as suspicious. When a woman sets strong boundaries, she's applauded. When a man sets strong boundaries, he's sometimes labeled emotionally unavailable. When a woman chooses career and self-development first, it's framed as ambition. When a man does it, some people frame it as avoidance. That double standard makes men quieter, not because they have no feelings, but because they're tired of being misunderstood. And misunderstanding is exhausting. There's also another layer men rarely say out loud. Many men don't feel safe being honest about what they want. If a man says he wants loyalty, he's called controlling. If he says he wants peace, he's called boring. If he says he wants respect, he's called insecure. If he says he wants a partner who values family, he's called old-fashioned. If he says he wants to move slowly and build trust, he's told he's wasting time. So men learn to either lie or leave. The healthiest men often choose the third option. They stop competing in a marketplace that turns sincerity into a weakness. And once men stop chasing, everything changes. Because chasing creates a certain kind of power imbalance. It makes one side the pursuer and the other the evaluator. It turns people into products. It turns love into a transaction. When men stop chasing, the entire dynamic shifts. People have to be more intentional. They have to communicate more clearly. They have to bring something real to the table beyond attention. They have to treat connection like something you build, not something you collect. And that's why this moment feels like a crisis to some observers. Not because men are disappearing, but because men are refusing to be desperate. Desperation was useful to the system. Desperation kept men paying for dates that went nowhere. Desperation kept men tolerating a disrespect for a chance at affection. Desperation kept men accepting unclear arrangements because they were afraid of being alone. But the moment a man realizes he can be alone and still be happy, he stops being easy to exploit. Now, let's address something important with maturity and precision: the idea of vulnerability. You'll hear a lot of people say, men need to open up more. There's truth there. Men should be emotionally intelligent. Men should be able to name what they feel. Men should be able to communicate, to process, to heal. A man who can't handle emotions becomes dangerous to himself and others. But men also learned another truth. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Vulnerability isn't a trick you perform to be liked. It's a privilege you grant to someone who has proven they can handle it with care. So the evolution many men went through isn't, "I'll never open up." It's, "I will open up with discernment." Because a lot of men opened up too early to people who weren't equipped to hold it, and it cost them respect or it got used against them during conflict. That doesn't mean vulnerability is wrong. It means men need wisdom about timing, trust, and the difference between emotional honesty and emotional dumping. A strong man isn't a robot. A strong man is regulated. He's steady. He can feel deeply without being governed by every feeling. He can be open without being reckless. He can be soft with the right person and solid when life gets hard. And that's what many single men are building now. Not a wall, but a spine. And as men build that spine, something interesting happens. They stop trying to win relationships. They start designing lives. A clean apartment that feels calm, not chaotic. A kitchen that's organized because order is therapy. A schedule that supports health instead of addiction. A circle of friends who hold each other accountable instead of dragging each other into trouble. A craft that gives them identity. A mission that gives them direction. They're not hiding. They're not sulking. They're not waiting. They're training. They're working. They're building. They're becoming men who can stand alone. And a man who can stand alone is dangerous in the best way. Not dangerous to people, dangerous to manipulation. Rejection doesn't shatter him. Silence doesn't control him. A delayed reply doesn't ruin his day. He doesn't chase breadcrumbs because he knows what a full meal looks like. He doesn't confuse attention with affection. He doesn't confuse chemistry with compatibility. He doesn't confuse desire with destiny. That's growth. And here's a reality that's hard but true. Many men didn't leave dating because they couldn't get results. Many left because they got enough results to see the pattern. They went on the dates. They did the conversations. They played the game. They improved their photos, their texting, their humor, their style, their confidence. They learned the scripts, and after enough rounds, they realized something. The game rewards a performance more than character. So men with character stopped auditioning. They stopped giving their best energy to people who weren't offering their best energy back. They stopped trying to be picked by someone who was still deciding if they wanted to keep browsing. And that's why some men became extremely selective, not picky in a childish way, selective in a disciplined way. They built rules like peace is not negotiable, respect is the entry fee, consistency matters more than excitement, communication matters more than chemistry, character matters more than aesthetics. If it costs your mental health, it's too expensive. If you have to beg for basics, it's not love. If you can't trust them, nothing else matters. These rules aren't anti-love. They're pro-stability. And the moment a man adopts them, his life gets quieter. Not empty, quiet. And quiet is where growth happens. Quiet is where strength is built. Quiet is where you stop performing and start becoming. Now, let's talk about commitment without fear-mongering. Commitment is powerful. Done well, it can multiply your life. But commitment is also serious. It isn't a costume you wear to look good on social media. It's a responsibility you carry when nobody's watching. And many men want commitment only if it's reciprocal. Reciprocal effort, reciprocal loyalty, reciprocal respect, reciprocal accountability. Not a dynamic where one person is always proving and the other is always judging. Not a dynamic where affection is used as leverage. Not a dynamic where the man is expected to be endlessly patient while his needs are treated like inconveniences. Men aren't asking to be worshipped. They're asking not to be taken for granted. And when men don't see a path to that, they don't rush. They slow down. They opt out of casual chaos. They take their time. They become careful. They become intentional. They become the kind of men who would make great partners, just not for everyone. And that's the part that hurts some people's feelings. When men improve and then stop being available to anyone who shows interest. Because a man at peace doesn't jump at attention. He asks, is this aligned with my life? Will this bring stability or confusion? Will this person add peace or drain it? Do they communicate like an adult? Do they take responsibility? Do they have integrity when it's inconvenient? Do they respect boundaries? Do they keep their word? And if the answer is unclear, he doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He simply returns to his life. That's not coldness. That's discipline. So what does this mean for men listening right now? It means you're not crazy if you looked around and thought, this isn't worth my peace. It means you're not broken if you decided to step back and rebuild yourself. It means you're not weak for wanting love, and you're not wrong for refusing chaos. But it also means you have responsibilities, because choosing yourself can't just be an escape. It has to be a standard. If you're single, build a life you respect. Get your health right. Get your money right. Get your mind right. Get your habits right. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to regulate your emotions. Learn how to apologize without losing your backbone. Learn how to set boundaries without becoming bitter. Learn what you actually want, not what you think you're supposed to want. Because a lot of men aren't avoiding relationships. They're avoiding repeating pain they never processed. And avoiding pain forever isn't strength. It's a cage. The goal isn't isolation. The goal is freedom. Freedom to choose love without neediness. Freedom to walk away without fear. Freedom to build without distraction. Freedom to say yes only when it's right. And here's the hopeful part, because there is a hopeful part. There are women who are tired of the same chaos too. There are women who value loyalty, women who respect discipline, women who communicate directly, women who don't treat dating like a power game, women who want a partnership, not a performance, women who see a man's peace and don't try to compete with it, don't try to test it, don't try to destabilize it, women who want to protect it and add to it. When that kind of woman meets a man who chose himself, something rare can happen. Not a relationship built on desperation. Not a relationship built on fear of being alone. Not a relationship built on one person carrying everything. A relationship built on mutual respect, mutual effort, mutual protection. Two independent people choosing each other, not needing each other to feel whole, but choosing each other because together they create something stronger than either could build alone. That's the real upgrade. Not she completes you, not he saves you, but we build. And until that shows up, the single man who's done the work isn't suffering. He's living, he's training, he's becoming, he's building a life nobody can take from him. So the next time someone tries to shame a single man for being alone, remember what might really be happening. He may not be lonely, he may be free. Free from confusion, free from performance, free from the endless need to prove himself, free to wake up early, train his body, sharpen his mind, build his career, deepen his friendships, and invest in a purpose bigger than attention. Free to choose love only if it respects the life he fought to create. Because maybe happiness was never about being chosen. Maybe happiness is about becoming the man who can choose. And choosing yourself first doesn't mean you never choose anyone else. It means when you finally do, it's real, it's earned, it's mutual, it's steady, and it doesn't cost you your peace.